So you guys may not know this about me, but I am a big time movie fan. I love watching movies. My family and I sit down and watch movies together all the time. And I have noticed that when we pick a movie that is for the laughs, a comedy, something that's just fun and funny that we want to watch, we end up having time to watch it. And then we all, turn the movie off. It's time for bed. Everything's good. When we pick a drama, however, okay, when we pick a more serious movie to watch, I've noticed that we often have to stop the movie and finish it the next day. So that made me wonder about what you call the runtime of a movie, the length of a movie. And it made me think that perhaps dramas have longer runtimes than comedies. So in order to find out, you know what I did? I gathered some data. All right, so we are still working in statistics. We've finished up standard one where we looked at categorical versus numerical data, and we looked at what can we do with categorical data? Well, we can make predictions. What can we do with numerical data? Well, lots of stuff, mean, median, mode. We can make box plots out of it after the 5-number summary. And now we're going to take it to really what I think is the more important level, is comparing two sets of data. Okay, I can do all this stuff with one set, but what if I have two sets of data that I'm trying to compare? So the two sets of data I'm going to show you, and you're going to write this down on page 9 in your spiral notebook. I actually just, to find an easy way to gather some data to compare, I went and looked at what's listed right now as the best comedies in Netflix, because there's a bunch of movies in Netflix. So I just went, all right, I'm going to look up the best comedies in Netflix, and I found their runtimes. And I'm going to look up the best dramas on Netflix, and I found their runtimes, and I stuck with the top 12. So I got 12 in each set. So that's what I'm going to show you right now on page 9. I already have it written down. So you can pause, of course, and write these things down. I've got a title up here. I've got page 9 down here. This page is called Comparing Two Sets of Data, and these are the two sample sets that I gathered. Now, they are considered samples because they are not every single movie in existence. I just found 12 comedies and 12 dramas. Pause me and write this all down. So what you're looking at here is you are looking at what we call the runtime in minutes. So 83 minutes, 60 minutes is an hour, right? So 83 minutes is 1 hour and 25 minutes, 85 minutes. Okay, so there's 12 there. So make sure when you're done count, make sure you got all 12 of them, and there's 12 here. So I picked 12 comedies, 12 dramas. And we are now going to compare this data. Now, a lot of what we're going to do in this particular standard is what we did in the last standard. We're just doing it with two sets. So one of the first things I'm going to do, and I'm going to color code all of this. I did best comedies in this pinkish color and best dramas in green. So I'm going to use those consistently as I go. One thing you can do is just compare the mean. So if I say, okay, comedies mean, I'm going to find that value, and then I'm going to find the dramas mean. Well, mean, if you recall from last standard, is the average. Oh, well, that's where we add them all up and divide by the sample size. Well, my sample size is 12. I have 12 in each sample set. So I am going to add all those up. You guys grab your calculator and you do it too. Add them all up. 85 plus 85 plus 85 plus 92 plus 92 plus 92 plus 95. Let's make sure we don't miss any. Plus 98 plus 100 plus 102 plus 103 plus 106. So I got this sum here. It's 1135. So the comedies mean, obviously that's not the mean. I now have to divide that answer by 12. Divide by 12. Again, this is stuff you've done it even before 7th grade. But we're now going to use it to make some comparisons. So the comedy mean is 94 point, let's call it 94.6. And that would be minutes, 94.6 minutes. Okay. Dramas, you guys pause me right now and do the same thing. Add up all these numbers and divide by 12. Go ahead, pause and try it. This is what I got. I added them all up, and then I took that answer and I divided by 12. So I'll round to the nearest 10th like I did with this one. The dramas mean is 125.3. Right away, does this value here support the idea that dramas are longer? Well, yeah, definitely if the average overall is longer, but this is just one value that allows us to see this, but it's still a powerful statistic. It's very helpful. And in fact, it's not just, hey, dramas are longer. I can actually do a little better than that. One thing I can do is I can now take these averages and I can find their difference. Look at my calculator right there. See what I did? I just subtracted those values. And I can actually be more specific now, 30.7. Oh, I'm going to make a little speech bubble over here. I'm going to say on average, because a mean is an average, on average, dramas are 30.7 minutes longer than comedies. So now not only are we finding the mean, and I'm going to make this a speech bubble because I just like those. I think it makes my notes more fun to look at. On average, dramas are 30.7 minutes longer than comedies. So not only can I calculate these values for one data set, but if I'm trying to compare two data sets, I can calculate the mean, and then I can find the difference to give me a little bit more information. On average, dramas are about half an hour longer than comedies. So I'm not crazy to think that, oh, when we try to watch a drama, we can't finish it in one sitting because they're long. They're about half an hour longer. Well, you know what? I think I can do even better. All right. I think I can get even more valuable information from this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write down here. I'm going to write comedies again. And what I'm going to find now for the comedies is I'm going to find something else we did last strand. I'm going to find the 5-number summary, right? You guys remember what I'm talking about? I'm going to find the min, the lower quartile or Q1. I'm going to find the median. I'm going to find the upper quartile or Q3, and I'm going to find the max. Now, I was super nice when I gave you this data and I already put it in order for you. Wasn't that really, really kind of me? So because it's already in order, I can just jump right into this, right? I can go right away. Okay, here's the min and here's the max. All right, 85 and 106. I'm only focused on the comedies sample right now. I'll do it again for the dramas. They're two different samples and we're comparing them. So you got to kind of do everything twice here. So the min was 85, the max was 106. The median now is where I go next to the middle. Well, if there's 12 values, then the middle is in between 6 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to be halfway between 92 and 95. Remember, if I don't see that super well, I'm going to go 92 plus 95. I'm going to hit equals first, so my calculator adds them first, and then I'm going to divide by 2. Oh, 93.5 is the median. That's halfway between. All right, now lower quartile and upper quartile. Again, this is not brand new, but it's a nice review in case we were unclear before. Now I have 6 down here and 6 up here. So that actually means the quartiles also land between, because if it's even, you're going to be between. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm halfway between there, and 1, 2, 3. I'm halfway between there. This one I can see really clearly that right between 100 and 102 is 101. So that one's easy to see. It's 101. This one, I might need to go again, 85 plus 92, and then divide by 2 to know that 88.5 is halfway between those numbers. So 88.5. Let's do that again now for dramas. Okay, I'm going to go to my other sample there, my other list of data. And once again, I am going to find my 5-number summary. Q3, the max. All right, here I go now for this. All right, min, max, 104, 159. Those are always really easy to pick out if you've got it in order. There's your min, there's your max. Now halfway, this is still 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Halfway between 118 and 123. 118 plus 123. Press enter, divide by 2. 120.5. All right, the median is 120.5. Q1 is halfway between 111 and 116. I'm finding the half of the bottom half now. Add them together, divide by 2. That's 113.5. And then 1, 2, 3, halfway here, halfway between 136 and 140 is 138. You could type them in and add them up to verify and divide by 2. Now, something else that this shows me here, we are in fact going to turn those into box plots, and I'll explain why. But I'm going to draw, speaking of boxes, I'm going to draw a box around this, and I'm going to go all the way over here, and I'm going to go all the way up here, and now down there. And I'm going to remind myself, because I can't hear it enough times, I got to hear it more in order to remember it, that this is called the 5-number summary. We've done it before, but we've only done it with one set of data. Now we are doing it with 2 sets of data so that we can make some comparisons. And another thing that is often done here is not only do people find the difference in the means, but they also find the difference in the medians right here. So if I go 120.5 minus 93.5, now I see another central value, 27. I can say that the drama's median, so I'm going to say drama's median runtime is 27 minutes longer than comedies. I guess this one technically should be like this grammar. Comedy's median runtime. This is comedy's possessive and this is comedy's plural. Anyway, okay, so another speech bubble there. Already we're getting a lot of great information that's allowing us to make comparisons, and everything that I'm seeing so far just verifies for me, yeah, dramas are longer. Okay, now with all of this, the reason you can find all of this is now you can make, instead of just a list of numbers, a list of numbers doesn't always help you see what you need to see about the data. And when I say see, I hope you think display. That's why we make things like dot plots and box plots, because a nice visual display just helps us understand more. So ready? Here we go. I'm going to come down here, count the spaces with me. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. And underneath that 5th space, I'm going to start a number line arrow here. And I'm going to draw a nice traced straight line over this line that already exists in my spiral notebook. I'm going to come all the way over here. I may or may not need all that space. I don't know. And here's what I need to look at. Now, when I'm making a box plot for comparisons, I need to make sure not only is there room for me to draw 2 box plots, I'm actually drawing 2 separate box plots, but I'm using the same number line for them, because then it's a true comparison. Some people will try to make a box plot with this one and use a number line that fits this, and then a box plot for this one and use a number line that fits this. And if you're using 2 separate number lines, you're not really seeing the comparison that you need to see. You need to see them overlapped on the same number line, because that's the best way to get a visual of what's actually happening with them. If you're comparing them, put them on the same number line. So I need to know the lowest and the highest between both of my data sets. Well, the comedies has the lowest to 85. So I need to make sure my number line gets me from 85 to 159. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start with 80. At the thought of drawing enough little scale markings to get from 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, all the way to 159. That's crazy. Don't do that. Let's go by tens. So I'm going to go from 80 to 160 by tens. And I'm going to just count them out loud while I draw them to kind of evenly space them out and make sure I'm going to fit enough. And then I'll come back and label them. So like 80, and then maybe I'll put 90 here. And that's about how much I'm going to space them out. So if I start with that space, I need to kind of keep that space. I'll do the best I can. We're not perfect. It's okay. 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. They're pretty evenly. Some of them got a little too close together, but it's good. So now I'm going to label 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, and 160. And then I'm also going to put a label down here that this is about the runtime, which is measured in minutes. Okay, so now we're going to give ourselves a visual. And once again, I'm going to color code these box plots, the same colors I've been using. So I'm going to do comedies in this pink here. So I am going to start, I'm going to write over here in pink, I'm going to write comedies. And then I know that the lowest starts here. I'm going to go kind of in the middle of the box there and draw that in the middle of the space in the middle between 80 and 90. So that's about 85. And yeah, I'm going to kind of eyeball these because I don't have exact scale markings for them all, but 85 is the minimum. 88.5 wouldn't even quite be up to 90 yet. So that's Q1. So I'm going to fill up this whole space. So that's the bottom of the box. The median is 93.5. So halfway would be 95. So 93.5 is about there. Q3 is 101, which is just barely past 100. And then the max is 106, about here. So this little box plot represents the comedies data, the runtime for comedies. Okay. Now let's look how that compares to the dramas visual. And let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, so I'm going to skip a line and then I'm going to come up here and write dramas. And I know I can write it right there because the minimum doesn't even start until 104, which is about halfway, not quite halfway. And then Q1 is 113. So here's 105, about right there. The median is 120.5, so just barely, it's going to kind of look like 120 on my scale. Q3 is 138. And then max is 159, which is almost to the top there. Here's my box in the middle. Down to the minimum, up to the maximum. Now look at this visual here. Is there stuff that you just immediately see now in comparing dramas and comedies that you didn't necessarily see with the list of numbers? This is the power of a statistical visual, is it really helps us see some things. And what things do we see? Well, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to now put some conclusions. What have I decided? What do I now understand about comedy runtimes versus drama runtimes that I didn't know before I started all of this? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of conclusions right now, and you can write them down. Okay, first, overall, just in general, all of this completely verified what I suspected from the beginning, that dramas definitely have a longer runtime. Overall, dramas are longer. Everything verified that. To get more specific, here's another thing that the box plots show me that I really like the visual on. Drama runtimes have more what we call variability or spread in the data. Can you see how the comedy's pink box plot is just this cute little thing over here and it only goes from here to here? Tiny little spread. Dramas have a much bigger spread or variability. And what that means is it's okay for a drama to only be 100 minutes, but it's also okay for a drama to be almost 3 hours long at 160 minutes. I imagine that comedies can't quite get away with that. Maybe things stop being as hilarious in that amount of time. I don't know. But this has a much smaller spread. It tells me most comedies are between these, and most dramas, well, there's not as consistent of an idea of how long a drama is supposed to be. It's more all over the place. And to verify numbers with that, I found the drama range and the comedy range. That's the entire box plot. Remember, that's when you do maximum minus the minimum. So the drama has a range of 55 minutes. That means a drama could be 100 minutes long, or it could be 155 minutes long. There's a big range of time there. The comedy range was a little smaller. They were all within 21 minutes of each other's times. Okay. The other thing that I think is really important to look at is that middle 50%. So that's what the rest of these conclusions are about. 50%, this is the box part of the box plot. 50% of dramas have a runtime between 113 minutes and 138 minutes, which gives it an IQR of about 24.5. 50% of comedy runtimes are from 88.5 to 101, which again is a much smaller IQR, a much smaller spread. So what we just did is we used everything from our last standard to make comparisons. That's what we're going to work on for the next few days. And we're going to learn one more measure of how we can make better comparisons and how we can get at this idea of variability or spread. There's another calculation we're going to learn about tomorrow.